Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight I am getting to another sponsored request from one of you guys. This one comes to us from our buddy Pops Reacts. Thank you so much, my friend, for that request, and also a special shout out to our friend and a congratulations. Congrats for hitting 10,000 subs here on YouTube. Proud of you, my friend. Couldn't happen to a better guy. And here's to the next 10,000. Now, I just posted the reaction to this over on the main channel, Jeff Reacts 12, so if you just want a reaction, make sure you guys go check that out. But this video is going to be my breakdown where I talk about my interpretation of her lyrics and things I see in her performance. This is, of course, My C, the live concert performance from her The Golden Hour performance in 2022. I normally don't make a habit of doing live clip and concert performance reactions because they typically get blocked, but most of IU's content seems to be safe, so I think we're fine. And yeah, this song is fantastic, and I had mistakenly thought it was my very first time hearing it before I started the reaction, but as I got into the chorus of the song, I realized I have heard it. I just didn't know it was IU, and I didn't know the song in its entirety. But absolutely stunning song. So let's go see how she's going to perform this, and let's talk about her lyrics. Unfortunately, there's only auto-gen subs, so I'll follow along with lyrics over here. That soft little run there. It's almost more like a trill than a run. 밤이 되면 서둘러 내일로 가고 싶어 수많은 소원 아래 매일 다른 꿈을 꾸던. Okay, before we get into this absolutely beautiful chorus, I love the soft, like very stripped down piano only with the vocals here to open the song. It really sets the mood and the stage for this to be either a song about, and we'll figure it out as we read the lyrics. I haven't read them yet, but it's setting the stage for it to either be a love song, a nostalgic song, or like a introspective song with some element of either outright sadness or longing or even bittersweetness. All right, those are the possible combinations that I'm getting just from how we're starting the song. So now let's see what the song is saying. So verse 1 here. But there are things that don't heal even after time, because I don't love me completely. It's a poor night for my heart. So already we're talking about, a sadness looking back. So I mentioned that nostalgic element. But whatever it is, her hardships, her obstacles, things that have wounded her, it hasn't healed despite how long she might be removed from it. And maybe she's partly to blame for whatever happened. I don't know, because it says because I don't love me completely. So that tells me that there's some element of self-loathing there to an extent. Maybe not a lot, but enough to say like maybe what happened to me was my fault. Like, I don't love me completely because of what I did or because of who I am. But we all know who we were becomes who we are as time progresses, of course. So, and then because I don't love myself completely, it's a poor night for my heart. Maybe she's not able to sleep. Maybe her heart aches with regret, whatever the case might be. And I think it's more towards that latter part. Then the pre chorus, the face I see in the mirror is strange. So that already goes back to that line about because I don't love me completely. It's like she doesn't recognize who she is, or maybe who she's become. Maybe she's lost herself along the way. I talked about that element of regret and that element of sadness and nostalgia. All of that could be coming into play here. I close my eyes silently as a habit. It's almost like this, again, this introspection, this trying to gather myself, maybe even depending on how much, like how intense the self loathing aspect might be, it might even be that she's trying to like block that image out and remember who she was. When the night comes, I want to hurry and go to tomorrow. She doesn't want to be left alone with her thoughts in the silence that usually comes with the serenity and the tranquility of nighttime. Um, at least in literature and media in general, unless it's a crime or a horror thing, if you put those two genres aside, nighttime is usually always a time of like peace, quiet. Philosophically, it's this element of introspection, but it's also separation from the world because you're back home, you're separated from the noise of the world. But she wants to go back to the world. Like she doesn't want to be left alone with herself. I dreamed a different dream every day under so many wishes. Uh, so maybe she's dreaming of um, a better life. Maybe she's dreaming to return to the better life she thinks she had before. Um, but whatever it was, like she's wished countless times for a different reality. Oh, already really heavy and really beautiful. Now let's speaking of beautiful, let's check out this chorus. Stunning vocals and dress here. That chorus is just so gorgeous. I mean, the way she goes up and back down, but it's not anything like sharp. It's nothing that like is displeasing to the ear. It's almost undulating to an extent. But there are those elements of like going really big and then coming back down. And remember, this song is called My Sea. And the sea or the ocean, has waves. It's got peaks and troughs, and she's delivering the song as if we're riding on the waves. Like as we go up for the really high note, but then we crash back down, and then like she pulls the support out, and so we're just left with this vulnerable breathiness that's almost like going into the trough of the wave. And it's just really not only gorgeously delivered, but it's almost a masterclass in developing a concept. Um, yeah, okay. And then this particular shot, and we're gonna see lots of shots in this video. The light sticks all synced up. This really cool looking outdoor. I'm gonna call it a stadium, but it might just be an arena. I don't really know where she's at here, but it's the blue all synced up also contributes to the ambiance of that ocean feeling. And it's also just really cool to see that many light sticks lighting up the same color for the artist. Like, yeah, that okay. So the chorus lyrically says, "Has the child gotten sick of being me for so long?" Um, so this line tells me, based on what we've already covered, and then that line, that maybe it is a difference of who she used to be versus who she is. And maybe things were simpler then, maybe things were better then, I don't know. But she doesn't recognize who she's become, as we talked about earlier, seeing the face in the mirror, it's strange, that kind of stuff. But Now she talks about the previous her, like the younger her. Has the child gotten sick of being me? Um, the child grew up. The child was like buried inside, and who I used to be, that maybe that carefree or dreamer I used to be, is buried deep, and has that part of me grown tired of you know not being heard, or getting to experience the world. Like the me that I am now is not that dreamer. The me that I am now is like weighed down by expectations, burdens, uh, you know, even real world things like bills or whatever it might be. I don't feel the freedom to dream and express myself anymore. So as the days pile up, we get further away. So talking about this separation between who she was and who she is, it's just growing. I don't think I can reconcile with myself. I don't think it's going to get any better. Uh, so she has recognized the disconnect between who she was, who she is, and maybe who she wants to be, but she isn't sure how to fix it. At least not here. Let's see if she gets there.
흔적만이 남아 희미한 그곳엔 설렘으로 차오르던 나의 숨소리와.
This part right here in the pre-chorus, if I'm following along correctly, because this is all in English and this isn't. Um, this line is the first line of the pre-chorus, like I said, if I'm right, and it says, "The sound of my breath that was filled with excitement." And as she's got her eyes closed and she's thinking back, like she's channeling that, because not only is she eyes closed and her voice is starting to pick up a little bit, a little, maybe even a little bit of nervous energy there, but she's also smiling and she's emoting here. She's not sad, like we have experienced so far. Like she's starting to find that joy here. You hear the music building. It's swelling just like a wave building, that energy. I love how she starts the chorus off. Oh, God, it's beautiful. Okay, verse 2. "When I was young, there was an endless sea in my heart." So the world was vast and open for exploration. I could be a dreamer. You can't see the horizon. I want to go explore that. I want to, spread my wings and fly. However you want to take the metaphor, she's describing it as a vast sea, but you could use anything that feels familiar to you here. So anyway, there was an endless sea in my heart that I was never able to hide. Like this dream, she was never able to hide it from herself or who she was. But now in the faintest places, only traces remain. So like only in like little pockets of her soul and her heart does that dreamer still exist. And she clearly wants to be that person again, or at least have that aspect of herself be allowed to be expressed again. So that pre-chorus, I told you, the sound of my breath was filled with excitement, and that's where she starts to smile, and she's picking up the energy a little bit. "And the breeze blowing above my head, I want to become a wave and run anywhere." So the wave meaning in the metaphor being the sea, the wave being unfettered, unchained, just free to move about the ocean as it pleases, dictated only by the direction the wind blows. This here, like, I want to become a wave and run anywhere. Like, I want the ability to not be shackled with burden. I want to express myself. I want to dream. I want to explore. Being a little scared, I slowly open my eyes. Well, obviously, with that that vast freedom and that vast unknown, that the endless possibilities, there's also a little bit of fear there if you're smart, because yeah, there's a lot of positive possibilities, but there's some negative ones too, and you're gonna have to take risks at some point. I also love that the chorus changes each time. The chorus is not the same here, even as like the melody is the same. But we'll go over the lyrics here after she's done.
그렇게 모든 순간 내게로 와는 것이 선물이 되고
She has the voice of a goddess.
숱하게 의심하던 나는 그제야 나에게 대답할 수 있을 것 같아.
Okay. Come on now. Y'all just heard that. I need a second. Okay. That chorus was, "The world comes to me at every moment and it becomes a dazzling gift." So before, in the chorus, we were talking about like the child being sick of who she's become, and she's getting further and further away from that child that she was, or the inner child maybe that she still has. But now she's starting to appreciate the world as it is. The world comes to me at every moment. It becomes a dazzling gift. Right? And then the next line, "I have a big number of doubts." We talk about the final line of that last pre-chorus, being a little scared. I slowly open my eyes. Well, that little scared comes from those doubts. But then the final line here is, "But I think I can find the answer to them." So the final line of that first chorus was, "I don't think it's going to get any better." Like, there was this feeling of hopelessness. Right? This disconnect that is never going to be bridged. But now, in the second chorus, there's hope. I think I can find the answers to these doubts and these questions, and maybe I can become the person that I once was and that I want to be again. And then we're going to get this bridge.
너무의 기억이 나를 부르고 있어. 아주 오랜 시간 동안 잊고 있던 목소리에
I love that little like that chant that starts the final chorus. Oh, that's good too. So the bridge. The memories are calling me from the other side. So we've talked about that disconnect, but now that she's bridging it. But the memories calling from the other side, like reminding me of what used to be and what could be again. With the voice that I had forgotten for a long time, that the voice of that inner child, that younger me. I go back to being against the waves in the place where the sea inside me was born. So this moment of introspection comes, and she reconnects with that inner child. She finds that passion, that carefree, that desire, the dream, the endless possibilities again. They all come flooding back to her. And then it's actually kind of appropriate that I use the word flooding, even though I wasn't intending to, because the first line of the final chorus is, "Even if I get swept away and get lost, I'm free." So again, that carefree part, but also the endless possibilities taking you, and it going back to her wanting to be the wave that can go where it wants, essentially. But in this case, even if she were to be swept away and pulled out to sea, she's free. It doesn't matter. She's unburdened now. girl just belted that note and held it. Oh. Okay, so that final chorus is even if I get swept away and get lost, I'm free. I don't close my eyes to the darkness that locks me up anymore. So, like, there are still things that keep me rooted here. There are the doubts. There are, the responsibilities, the burden sometimes. But I don't avoid it, right? Like, it's part of who I am now. I embrace that. I've matured. I've grown into this, but I've also found the freer version of me. And then the last line there, I won't pretend I don't know myself again. See, like I said, she found herself. Both sides of herself have connected, and she feels grown up. She feels mature. She feels like she has connected that bridge again. But vocally, that was just absolutely beautiful. That shot right there is probably the coolest one as far as the crowd shots go. So, hold on. So the crowd is clapping because that's the end of the song, but she's going to sing a little bit more here in a bit. But while we're waiting, that outro was, but still sometimes there will be days in which I lose against life. Even if I get lost again, I know my way back. Because she's now secure in who she is. She's found herself. And so even if the negative aspect of the sea and being, washed around and all that comes about, she knows her way back to being herself. And then this outro of the concert, you hear those ocean waves and the wind, the breeze, whatever. As she's just confidently walking up to the edge of the front stage. It's like a siren song here.
또다시 헤매일지라도 돌아오는 길을 알아.
That soft, like, fluttery breath on the final vulnerable note. Oh, stunning. I don't know what she said there because I don't know Korean, and so I don't know if she repeated part of the last chorus or the outro, or if those were like new lyrics that were put in for the concert. I don't know. I can only go with the translation that I have pulled up, but oh wow, absolutely just stunningly beautiful song. Everything about it was perfect in this performance too. The crowd, the ambiance, the dress, the visuals like of herself, not just the dress, the vocals, obviously, the accompanying musicians, like everything combined for just like a perfect performance. All right, guys, that was My C live clip from the 2022 the Golden Hour concert from IU. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did, because I am going to be probably replaying that in my head for a while. That I feel like if you were in the audience for that performance, it might be one of your core memories in life. Similar to how I had mentioned years ago, we reacted to Lightsaber from EXO and them doing like a little Star Wars esque performance with it. And I feel like for me, had I been in that crowd, that would have been a core memory. This would be the same, especially for IU fans. Like, this was insane. But Pops, thank you again, my friend, for the request. If you guys want to get a request done here or on the main reaction channel, there are two ways to do it. You can either subscribe to Patreon like Pops did, gray tier and higher, get access to all the content that's over there, and they get the guaranteed requests every month. Also, a special shout out to those Patreon subscribers who have made it to gray tier or higher. Thank you guys for all of your support. Always appreciate you. The second way, though, if you're not interested in Patreon at all, is you can look in the description below. There's a link to PayPal and instructions on how to use it. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to enable your notifications. And I will see you guys for the next one. Take care, everybody.